Welcome to the OCIA Book Club. My name is Rosie Hernandez. I am Director of Formation and Evangelization. I'm reading and breaking down the newly translated Order of Christian Initiation of Adults, reviewing the content and the important elements. This is episode 10, Purification and Enlightenment, and this is covered in numbers 138 through 140. Now, you might be saying, well, that's not many paragraphs. It's 3 simple paragraphs. But in fact, it is an introduction to the entire period of purification and enlightenment. And so it's going to be what's leading us up or setting us up for the next 3 sections, which will be looking at the rites, specifically the rites of purification and enlightenment. So let's see what we have here. Number 138 starts off by reminding us that this period normally corresponds with Lent, and it begins with election. So we know already that the rite of election is usually the first weekend of Lent, right after Ash Wednesday, and that is when they officially become elect, if you remember from the last video, and now enter into this period of preparation through purification enlightenment as elect of God. But it also renews the community along with the elect, so that we can together recall the Paschal mystery and live that Paschal mystery as we prepare for the Easter season. We give ourselves then to spiritual recollection. That is the whole point of this period, is purification and enlightenment of the heart and mind, so that we are ready to receive those sacraments at Easter. And we do this through the remembrance of our baptism or preparation for baptism, depending on if we're the faithful or if we are the elect, as well as time of penitence. And so Lent is a penitential season where we are, yes, reflecting on that baptism, but also reflecting on how we are changing and growing in order to be ready for Easter. We need to be ready for the Paschal feasts and or for initiation, and we are prepared for these through the rites that are in this period, which are the Scrutinies, the rites of handing on, and then the rites of immediate preparation. And so we'll look at those 3 individually in subsequent videos. Number 139 talks about how this period is meant to be a time of intense preparation of spirit and heart. And that's really important because it's giving us a shift from the norm of the catechumenate. It is also intended to be more recollection than catechesis. It's time to put away the catechetical hat and bring out that accompanyer's hat, the mentor hat, where we're going to walk with them in this spiritual preparation for the sacraments. The purpose is to purify hearts and mind by the examples of, especially of penitence, examination of conscience, and penance. And those are the 2 of the important elements of the Lenten season for everyone. These things bring us to a deeper knowledge of Christ as our Savior, and not just traditional Jesus as our friend or Jesus as teacher or Jesus as mentor, but now we're looking at Christ, the Savior, the one who suffered, died, and resurrected. And finally, in 139, explains to us that this period then extends the entire time of Lent. So it is really all set out purposefully to have different things happening at different times during Lent. So just to kind of sum up some of this and make maybe some of it a little bit more practical, 3 things to remember. Number 1, that this is a change in the whole feeling and the whole environment, okay? Much like for Lent, our physical environment in the church changes, our music changes, what we respond to, so we omit Alleluia and Gloria. There's a lot of physical changes that happen during Lent. And so this is also what should happen during our sessions together. There should be a change in the feeling, in the ambiance, more penitential and baptismal, preparation for baptism through penitence. And that's why the scrutinies are going to end up being so important, because it brings us to those moments of penitence as a community. Second thing is that we're focusing now on spiritual recollection. And that means, in essence, in the traditional sense, no more teaching. We are no longer trying to put in topics to teach during Lent. Are we going to teach them some things? Of course. They're going to learn about what Lent is. They're going to learn about the Triduum. They're going to learn about the Paschal Mystery. But we do it in different ways. We do it in ways that are more as if it was a retreat every session, not a catechetical session. So we shift gears in the ambiance, but we also shift gears in what we do together. And that we change that whole meaning, that whole atmosphere, the whole feeling is changing to a Lenten one. So we change the colors on our tables. Everything's purple. Um, we can change the music that we use, the prayers that we use, just the whole way that we talk. We're no longer teaching, but we're guiding them like it's a retreat. And then finally, a good news for you. I think a lot of people don't like this period because they think it's too full. But in essence, your Lent is already planned out. If you look at it, if you take a calendar and you start looking at the days of Lent, and what needs to be done during Lent, you'll find that you don't even need to find topics to teach, quote unquote, but that everything is going to follow through with what is expected with the Lenten season and the Lenten readings. And so everything is done. If you'd like a calendar sample of Lent and Easter seasons, email me and I'll send it to you. It's just a simple one I created to help get a visual picture of how Lent is pretty much already laid out for us once we get there. Number 140 reminds us that on Holy Saturday, we may have some rites there that we can settle the rites of immediate preparation. If you've never done these before, they are really excellent, and we'll talk about those in an upcoming video, exactly how to do it. But I really encourage you to look at your calendar and find a way to do them. One of the new changes that happened was these used to be called the Rites of Holy Saturday, but now they're just called the Rites of Immediate Preparation. So if you can't do it on Holy Saturday morning, which many parishes I know have done, and it's been a great success, then you can do it the Saturday before and just do, 8 hours I'm sorry, 4 hours from 8 in the morning to 4 p.m. You can start with your morning mass. That's at 7 and then move into a room, do a couple of talks, have an activity, and then go by lunch. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But I really encourage you to talk with your pastors ahead of time, like now, and ask them, is this a possibility that we can do? And then, as I said, I think in 3 more videos, I'll do a whole outline of how you can do it, sample outlines, and what it means. So those rights can be celebrated. And the final thing I want to throw in here is that in the national statutes, norm number 12 talks about this time, and it only gives one norm for purification and enlightenment, and that is that the elect, those who assist them, which means your whole team, and those that are going to participate in Easter Vigil should extend the fast of Good Friday all the way up to the beginning of the Vigil on Saturday. Now, that doesn't mean don't eat anything and faint. You have to be careful and be sure that you have protein and energy and such. But if we continue that fast through the Easter Vigil, then that's extra prayer time for our elect as well as for our entire community. And that's in the national statutes, norm number 12. So that's your introduction to purification and enlightenment. Stay tuned for the next 3 upcoming videos, which will talk about the rites that I just shared right now, the scrutinies, the handings on, and then finally the rites of immediate preparation. See you soon.